Hello. Hi guys. Oh, I'm not on camera. Hang on. There we go. Now I'm chatting to you, kind of. Sorry. Hang on. Oh. Belay that. Belay that. I've got the wrong camera switched on. Never mind. Here we go. Hi. I'm going to be looking slightly off camera because the camera's over there and I'm over here and you're over there. My screen has suddenly decided to do this weird thing where it's doing like phone screens do. I updated my app my Mac OS yesterday, and it's doing this thing where it reacts to light. Like, oh, there you go. I'm turning it the wrong way. That's better, isn't it? You know, like with your phone screen, you can set your phone screen to adapt and go light and dark as you're looking at it, depending on whether you're in the light or not. Does that make sense? Reactive. My screen's doing it. I didn't know my screen could do it, but I don't know why it's doing it, and I need it to stop because the whole light and dark thing is doing my head in. I like it dark. Stay dark. McGough, stop it. Hey Rish. Did you enjoy PlannerCon? Saw some of your posts on Instagram. Hey Cody. Exhausted now, yeah, I bet. I'm just grabbing stuff here. So, I don't really have anything planned today as such, but I thought I'd show you a couple of bits and pieces. I'm probably just going to sketch, to be honest. That's what I feel like doing because it's really hot, which is really nice. I don't mind it being really hot. Well, it's not really hot. It's like 20 degrees, which is really hot for here. But I don't mind it being hot. I quite like it being warm. But it's not conducive to actually getting any work done. Unless your job happens to be sitting around painting all day, and then, well, you bought a new TN, original or shop one, like Traveller's Company or... Oh, there's my vlogging camera. I've been looking for that all week. Went and did something silly, like hanging it in front of my desk. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to say her name in case she doesn't want it said. I don't know. She didn't mention anything, but I don't like saying people's names unless they've specifically said. But one of my long-term subscribers and patrons sent me an unloved Hobonichi cousin. Oh, it's got a fox on it. Cool. Mowing Dory. I'm not familiar with that one. Hey, Rach. Yeah, she sent me an unloved Hobonichi cousin Avec. And it's in date. Look, it's this year. She said, I'd rather you had it and tried to use it than, you know, it sat here being not used because, like, it's May already. I'm not going to use it. So, it's in date. And yes, I did go to all the hassle of changing my other one and whiting things out and everything, but, you know, it's an old planner. It really doesn't matter. I can still use it for notes. I've still got all this paper left here and all this paper left here. I can still write plenty of notes in it, so I'm not worried about transferring. I am glad that she told me before I actually got around to writing in all my stuff because I haven't updated it since I showed you last time, other than my week as I go. Still using it the same way. I was sick most of last week, which is why I didn't get a chance to do very much. But yeah, this is pretty much what it looks like. This is my schedule from 8 till 8, and I'm using the numbers on the side. This is the weekly view. I've got things that I need to do this week. No, things that I need to do this... Yes, things I need to do this week, sorry. Things I need to do this week and things I need to do not this week, but soon. And then I've got another list for the month here. So I've got... Sorry, I've got names there. I've got patrons, new patrons that I send artwork to. And ongoing, because I've got like some commissions and stuff that are happening. Then this monthly view is my class notes. The week is essentially my bullet journal. Let's go back to that week because it actually worked. I haven't used it much this week, and because I've been doing tax all week. Yeah. And then I've been out today. And then last week, like I said, I was sick all last week. So this is working. This is, I've got my astrology stuff, my transits across the top, important things I need to remember, like, you know, study guides that are due, dog food delivery from Amazon, get the battery replaced, and, you know, just stuff like that. This is... Boxes are appointments, so that's my Twitch schedule and all that kind of stuff. In between times, I use this. I don't really plan it as such, but most of my mornings are planning and admin. And then when I've done my planning and admin, I do art. And if my planning and admin takes me up till whenever my first appointment is, then so be it. And if not, then I get to do some art. Yay. And if I didn't get to do any art in the morning, then I do art after class. Hi, Lux. So then this part is like notes and stuff. The dark moon, Beltane and such. The podcast I listened to that morning while I was doing my planning and admin. Because I find that helps me organise I'm hoping that will help me organise my vlogs. Although the fact that I couldn't find my vlogging camera will tell you that I haven't vlogged. No bit. I haven't vlogged this week. I'm hoping to get back into it next week. So, and then the notes section is January to June, and then I've been doing journal bits, not massive entries or anything, but just, you know, post stickers for the weather and notes, bullet journaling, quotes that I find in magazines, really cool photo of a crazy dog from my calendar last month, bit more journaling, other stuff from magazines, you know, just bits and pieces. I don't really journal a lot during the summer because I tend to do a lot of sketching. So yeah, so now I've got an AVEC. I'm not sure I like it being in two books, but I don't want to jump the gun and stick the two together. I know me. I know I don't like having to go and hunt for another book. That was the whole point of moving into this in the first place. So I'm considering just like literally just sticking them together and making a big book, making a big cousin. Maybe. I mean, I think if I cut that off there and stuck those bits together, that would take care of that bit, and then all I've got to do is duct tape on the back. Or an alternative idea, which I'm not overly taken with, but maybe this would work, is to put them in the sleeve that I actually have. So I'd be working on this side for now. Oops. I'd be working on this side for now, and then moving to this side, and then I'd still have all the information. I don't know. I'm not keen on it being separate books, but I also really like the idea of it being separate because that means it's nice and compartmentalised. So that goes up to the 7th. When does this one start? Didn't really use the avec. I had a little avec. I had the Tech avec. This one starts in June. Oh, so I've got 2 Junes and 2 Julys. That's really handy, actually, because June is my summer class, and then July is One Book July. So that'll be handy for organising what I'm doing. I'll be able to have a class one, a class month set. Goodness me, I'll be able to this is annoying me already. I'll be able to have a class version in one side, and then Midsummer Chronicles and One Book July separately. So that actually works really well. But I'm not liking this whole 2 books thing. We've got a week's. Oh God, no. I mean, I've got small writing, but I if I'm going to spend money on a Hobonichi, I'm going to use it for everything, and I couldn't fit everything into a week's. The avec is wonderful for people who stuff their planner. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could imagine it being like. I would imagine somebody like Courtney Diaz would get on with this because she actually uses the back of her book as a journal, a proper journal, which she fills up with all sorts of stuff. And her cousin, she actually split it apart so that she's got the planner in one and the journal in the other, which is actually how I would have preferred it. But I could imagine her getting on with this, but I need to be able to see and plan across the whole year. So I'm not sure. I'm very grateful to the person who sent it to me, don't get me wrong. I am extremely grateful. Thank you so much. I was not expecting it. I've got a planner that's actually got the right dates in. I'm just toying with this whole it being in 2 sections bit. I don't think I can. I wonder if I just. Oh, hang on. I've just had an idea. I've had an idea. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Go pilfer my Midori 1 second. What if I where does it lift? What if I did that? I don't have an A5 cover or a note words. TN cover, or I'd just slap them in there and be done with it, and that would be fine. I wonder if I can get away with that. I think this hard bit is still going to bug me, but I think let's try it like that for a little bit. I'll use that page a lot, and I'll use that for addresses. So let's put a clip on there for now and see how that goes. Just clip it together for now, like that, and just see how that feels. Because if I prefer it stuck together like that, then I'll just stick it all together and take the hard bits out. That'll work. I don't like the bulk of having it in a cover, but it's better than having 2 planners, right? You got to sacrifice some things sometimes. Oh, I keep opening to the note. Sorry, that's because my Is this the right month? What week are we on? I don't even know the date. It's May, and it's the... That's the right week, isn't it? 13th. 15th today, yeah. So that's the month. And... That's right, because I put that on Sunday, knowing that I don't do anything on Sundays, so... Okay, so I'll update you with that. Could make a pocket with the two covers. Oh yeah, that could work. Yeah, literally just take them together like that and put a dip in it and have it so you can slide things in. Or even just tape it like a secretary pocket along the sides. That's not a bad idea, Lux. I like that. I like it. Good thinking. Yeah, just tape it up there and up the side there. Maybe even chop the back off one and just have it as like a slip pocket. That's not a bad idea. Because then I could put duct tape around the back and not have to worry about having a cover on it, because these covers are quite rigid. The cover on this one is not rigid at all. This is card. Like, even with duct tape on, it's not stiff. But this is like solid. Have they changed the covers over the years? So anyway, that's that. So guess what I'm going to be doing this evening out in the garden. And look, I don't know if these come with all of them. I don't know if Brenda will want me to send this back. It's really cute. I can't read the Japanese, of course. I'm sure Google Translate would have a go, but after the attempt it made at reading Korean diary stickers the other day, I think we won't risk it on camera. I might try it later to see if it tells you what it says, but this says, Happy Nothing Special Day. Dog. Isn't that cute? And then there's a little cartoon on the back. I don't know what it says though, and I'm not willing to try Google Translate on camera because it wasn't good at translating Korean the other day. Honestly, unless you're incredibly sensitive to language, if you're not sensitive to language and you like a good laugh, get your Korean diary stickers out, download the Google Translate app that has the photograph thing on it, and get your phone and read the captions on your Korean diary stickers. They are hilarious. I was crying with laughter. I thought it was so funny. Anyway, yeah, that's very cute. I like that. I'm going to see if Brenda wants that back, though. I don't know if she actually saw it. I don't know if she knew it was in there. Hey, Ina! So, there's that. The next bit is... news and updates. Of course, I don't have a list of news and updates. I should have a list of news and updates. I am wearing clothes, by the way. It's just my camera's really close to me. See, I've got a dress on. I've got my sundress on. The only sundress I own. In fact, it's the only skirt I own. It's my I'm not going anywhere today dress. So, and it's hot. I have got my new class all set up. So if you are interested, throughout the month of June, we're going to be doing... I'm calling it summer journaling because it's not really... Hey, Ellie! Long time no see! Where have you been? I'm calling it summer journaling because it's not really nature journaling, but it will include some of that. It's not really urban sketching, but it will include some of that. It's not really storytelling and creative writing, but it will include some of that. You get the idea. It's not just general journaling. That is separate, okay? If you keep an ordinary journal, then that's a totally different thing. Just a regular journal. This is like a special summer journal to celebrate the turn of the year, basically. It's the full moon of the year, Litha, summer solstice. Obviously, if you're in Australia, you will be doing, what, late autumn now? So I totally get that you will be doing something different, but there's just as much you can do at the end of summer as there is that you can do sort of in the beginning of and middle of summer. I mean, I would guess that most of Australia has pretty much the same weather in autumn as we have in the middle of summer. So don't let that put you off. We've got 2 Mimis in Honolulu and can't wait to lounge in them. Mimis? Mimus. Momus. Emus? Mimus? Mumus? Moo-moos. Go on, Marilyn. Don't let spell check beat you. Well, I thought I would just show you what I'm going to use for mine. I haven't started. My book is completely empty. I did have a page because I was going to use it for something else, and then I realised that the paper is so lovely, I actually decided against using that for something else, and I took that and put it in a different book that I already had some stuff in. You know what I'm like. But I had literally only written on that one bit of one page, and then I was like, no, I like this layout, because I didn't realise that the book, because obviously when I opened it, I'm like, oh, plain paper, excellent. It's not plain paper at all. This is the C. White's travel journal. It's the blue one in A5. I don't think I have I don't have the cover band. But there are 2. C. White's travel journal, there's one is green, that's the plain one. And this one is the blue one, which is an alternate. And it's got lines on the left and this plain on the right. So if you want plain, or if you like using lines, you can actually see the lines through quite clearly, even on camera. But the paper's really nice and thick. It's the cartridge paper. It's not great for heavy washes. It does buckle. I think, did I do a... No, I didn't do a test. Or did I? I think I had a bit of paper that I cut. I don't know where it is, though. It doesn't take heavy washes very well, but I plan to use colour pencil mostly and pen, so I'm not bothered that it doesn't take washes as such, because I don't. Over the years of doing urban sketching, I've realised that what I really hate about urban sketching is how much stuff you take with you, and this is something that we. It is lovely sturdy paper. It's I think it's £110 paper. I could be wrong. Let me just double check that, because I don't actually have the thing here. I will double check the information, but if you have a look in the link down below to my Amazon store, I have put it in the Amazon store for the Midsummer Chronicles list, if you're interested, to show you what I was using. Let me just get the... It's definitely the travel journal. It's definitely A5. They also come in A6 and A4, which is half size and this size. So if you want plenty of room, the A5. They also do a watercolour one, which is landscape. So that's the watercolour one. It's got a pale green. Well, it's got kind of a sea green, and it's that way, and it opens that way, and it's watercolour. 200 GSM, so it's the same as Moleskine notebooks, Moleskine watercolour notebooks, but better paper. 60 pages, so it's perfect for 1 month. There's where's the regular? Classic Travel is the plain one. That's the one with the green cover. It doesn't show the green cover here, but it does have a bright acidic green cover, like this cover green. this colour green. Really, really, really green. And then this one has a bright blue cover, which is this colour. It's turquoise. Let's call it turquoise. And they are... Oh, they also do these in the cahiers, which is what I've used before. So you get 3 in a pack. And it's all the same paper. Here we go. 130 GSM cartridge paper. 130 GSM. So 300 GSM is about 100 and some... Oh, I don't know what that is in pounds. Oh, there we go. There's the cover for the one that I've got, the bright blue one. And then there's a bright green one, that colour, the same. And then there's the sea green, which is the watercolour. And they're all come in all different sizes. You can get them just about anywhere. They're very common in the UK, but you can buy them all over the EU and in the US as well. So I don't get anything from Sea Whites for this, by the way. I just happen to... They're the books that I've always used, and they're the ones I always gravitate back to. Actually, if you are international and you want one, I think they sell them at Jackson's Art, and if you look down in my description, way down at the bottom, I have an affiliate link for Jackson's Art. If you've never shopped there before, you can get a 10% discount, which at least saves you your postage, right? But I think you can get them on Amazon. So yeah, it's a nice size. So even when it gets thick with stuff in it, it's still not going to be horrendously thick. And the bindings are really good on them. The bindings are fantastic. I have never, ever had one of these bindings actually split on me. And you know how I pack my journals. I have had a couple where the corner is gone. What's the price? They're super cheap. This one on Amazon, I think, was £8. Yeah, £8.25 on Amazon. So, what's that, about €10? You're doing 2 online classes in June. Mine will be easy though. Mine's, you know, mine are never high pressure classes. It's more about doing something every day. And it takes 28 days to build a habit, right? So if you want to try something, the best time to do it is for 28 days. So we're going to do this kind of out and about type journaling, noticing our local environment, investigating, going on art ventures. Art venturing, yeah. That's not my term. I stole that from Leslie Herger. Just so we're clear. She came out... Oh no, sorry. I tell a lie. Art venturing was Susie's. Art venturing is Susie's term. Susie Blue. Which is why I changed it, because she don't like other people using her terms. Susie coined art venturing. Les calls it out journaling, which is what I'm going to call it, because I know Les won't mind. It was just a term. She said, we all got together and said, well, what can we call it? We all went, well, what about out journaling? That's cool. And it was just kind of a group effort, and it became something that we all called it. So out journaling, actually going out, but not like... I should be sitting this way, shouldn't I? I should be sitting this way with you. Hi. Not just like... A lot of the time we think about journaling out, going out and journaling. And I know I do it. I think, oh, I know. Let's grab all my journal stuff and go out to a coffee shop. You know, and then you sit and journal about what you would journal about at home. Do you just do it somewhere different with a coffee? Am I right or am I right? I'm right. And occasionally you might, you know, draw what you see or do a bit of urban sketching or stick in a serviette from where you went or something like that. But you very rarely just go out and look. Well, that was weird. I saw something weird happen over the fence, and it's actually my upstairs flatmate He put his motorbike helmet on top of the wall, and that's all I saw was a motorbike helmet appearing over the wall. It was a bit weird. Yeah, it's something you would do if you were going on vacation or if you were travelling. Something you might do for a long weekend, you know, just because it's something that you don't normally do. I mean, I know I don't normally do it, and I've seen a lot of people, unless you specifically go somewhere with your kids or your family or your friends or whatever, you tend to journal about head stuff or life stuff or feelings and things like that. You don't tend to journal about, hey, over at the local pond, there's a whole gaggle of Canadian geese. And boy, are they noisy. Oh my God. They're the size of horses. They are enormous, these things. And they are so loud. Anyway, Canadian geese. It's that kind of thing. It's the kind of thing you would do if you were going on vacation or if you were having, as I often have, a staycation where I just chill a bit and aren't actually going away. I haven't actually been away on holiday since 2013 when I went to Germany for my friend's wedding, I think. It's the last time I went away properly. I have weeks off, but I haven't been away because it's difficult with the dogs. Yeah, summer is an ideal time to do this because it is the time when you might just go for a walk in your local park and think, oh, you know what, I'll take my phone and my I'll take my phone and my journal with me. And you might actually say, God, it's such a nice day, I'm just going to sit down under this tree for half an hour. And you might think, that's a pretty leaf, I'll put that in my journal and take it home. But you don't make a daily, proper, getting into it kind of practice of it. And I think that's kind of what I want to do because I want to get out in my local area. I don't get out of the house enough. So in order to get out of the house enough, I have to actually make myself get out of the house. And in order to make myself get out of the house, I'm going to make you come with me. Okay? That's the deal. If I have to leave the house, then you have to leave the house. I know there'll be plenty of you who just go, well, I'm going to my garden and that's it. I don't have a garden. I have a yard. It's not very exciting. I think as part of my week 3 fire stuff for Litha, I might try and spruce it up a bit. Maybe put up some... Well, we've got lights, but they don't work because they get wet. But I was thinking maybe I could put up some hanging baskets or something, or... I don't know, it's just all brown wooden fencing and it's really boring. So, anyway. Yeah, that's... Ooh, wrong camera, sorry. That's... Quite a few people have already signed up, actually. I know Cody's signed up, and I think Ina's signed up, and lots of people signed up so far. So it's going to be fun. And we're doing... It's themed. So it's 4 weeks. Switched cameras and then carried on talking. You don't even go to the grocery... Yeah, I don't even go to the grocery shop unless I have to. And if the car doesn't work, it can often be a week before I actually get around to getting it started to go actually go out. Because I'm just like, oh, well, if the car's not working, that's the university's way of telling me to stay at home. Yeah, and if you have too long going out, it's too much, isn't it? But this is going to be more kind of, we're going to do an out venture. One day for 4 weeks. So it's separate to When Frogs Sing, yeah. So you don't have to be in When Frogs Sing to do this one. It's a standalone class like Christmas Chronicles. You don't have to... I keep trying to move my camera and it's not working. Oh, there we go. Excuse the mess. It's 4 weeks. So we've got 2 days of intro when we'll do book setups and all that kind of stuff and talking about ideas. And then we'll do 4 weeks. So you'll do 1 day each week or 4 days in June where you go out somewhere specifically to go out for the day to do something. The other 26 days, if you would rather just sit in your garden and journal or pop across the road to the park, which is what I tend to do, you can do that. You don't have to be going out every single day somewhere, but it's just an opportunity to explore a bit and try different things. So week 1 is Earth. That is where I live. There's a Green Man trail. You know the Green Man heads? The male heads with the leaves around them, the sculptures. Well, there's loads of them in this area, and somebody put together a map that you can walk around all the different towns to see different heads. So I thought I might try and go and see some of them in my town. And we're also going to be looking at leaves and foliage that week. Leaves, trees, foliage, that kind of stuff. Grass, green things. The second week we're going to concentrate on air, which will be fairies. Yay! Because this is not midsummer if we don't do fairies. Oh, okay, Ellie. See you later. It's not midsummer if we don't do fairies, right? So fairies, air, things with wings, butterflies, birds, dragonflies, wasps, bumblebees, whatever it is you're into. You can pick lots of things, or you can pick one area, whatever you want. And that will be that. Are you familiar with the? I don't know the name of the sculptor, unfortunately. There's a metal wire sculptor in the UK. Oh, thank you, Cody. Who does? You do need to be a member to use that link, by the way. It's a free membership. It's only there for privacy, so that I know people who sign up are not spammers. That's all. It doesn't cost you to sign up as a member. It only costs to actually do the class. But you can sign up as a member and just use the forums. There's a metal sculpture. Shall I just show you? Wouldn't that be easier? Instead of just trying to... You can tell I haven't streamed for a week, can't you? My head's all over the place. Trentham Gardens. They also have a monkey forest, but I'm not going there because I don't like monkeys. We don't do monkeys. Here we go. The gardens. And there's a fairy trail. Now this is the only one that I'm going to that actually costs money to get into, because but only because I want to go to the fairy trail. The fairies. Here she is. So there's all these little... fairies, these little metal sculptured fairies. There she is with the dandelion. She's sitting in the middle of the lake and she's got a big dandelion clock, like an umbrella. And there's ones sitting in the trees and all sorts. There's loads of them. She's a pretty one. And there's an actual trail. You get a little sheet. Maddie! You get a little sheet and you go around the trail and you find all the fairies because they're hidden, like, all over the place. Some of them are in bushes, some of them up in trees, some of them right slap bang in front of your face. You can't miss them. And... Oh, aeroplanes! That's a good one for air. Oh, how cool. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. We've got a Spitfire in our local museum. I've drawn it before, but I'm sure I could go and visit it again. It's beautiful. Ooh. Anyway, the fairy garden. You get a sticker at the end, basically. And we're all about collecting the stickers, am I right? I'm right. So... yeah, I'm going to go and do that. And of course I'm going to vlog mine and film mine so that those of you who, if you are one of those people who actually can't get out and about, or it's difficult for you to get out and about, you'll have links to where I'm going. You'll be able to see my vlog. You'll be able to go and visit it online, Google Earth it or whatever if you want to. And you can kind of do a virtual tour if you want to, if that's more what you're able to do. So... anyway, God, I talked a lot today. Price is $30. That's right, $1 a day for a journaling class. And my journaling class is damn good if I do say so myself. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. And you don't have to, but I am aiming to hopefully fill this book. Now this is, how many sheets is it? I didn't check. I should have checked. I think it's 80 pages. Oh, I've still got the link open, look. How many pages? 128 pages, 64 sheets, which is, half of that is 30, so it's 4 pages a day if I stick to that kind of thing. But to be honest, if I went to the fairy gardens for the day, I'm going to draw all 15 fairies. There's a good chance I'd use maybe 10 pages just doing that, just sketching those. I'm not going to, you know, and some days I might only do 1 page or half a page or stick a leaf in or whatever. And other days I might do several pages. So I think that'll be okay. And I've started collecting, oh, that's just a spare bit of paper. That's the bit I tore off the front. Because there was a page on one side and a page on the other, so I just tore that off and stuck it down so it didn't come out on the other side. I've started collecting little bits and pieces that I'll be able to use. So I've got this really beautiful picture here that I thought actually I might use that on the, I'm going to put stickers and things there, but I thought she might be actually quite nice to go there and like have a header or something. Shush! I've got this lovely girl who is going to be appropriate for the Litha Fire Festival thing, the Fire Week that we do. Oh yeah, that's week 3, sorry. Got sidetracked. Week 3 we're doing Litha with the Midsummer... Maddie! Cut it out! Summer Solstice, Fire Festival, all that kind of stuff, so that's going to be fun. And the 4th week we're going to do water. I'm planning to go to my old stomping grounds of Keele University because there is an absolutely gorgeous arboretum and nature reserve and lake walk down at the back of Keele University. There will still be students about because it's June, but for me that just makes it safer. I don't like wandering around. I'll go down on a Sunday, so there won't be as many people, but there will be people about. And that'll just be like a chill out week, and we're going to look at things like the Legends of Avalon and Chalice Well and all that kind of stuff that week. I couldn't really find anything that fit Midsummer specifically for water because it's a fire festival, it's the complete opposite. But I think Avalon has that very, you know, the Summerlands kind of feel to it. That was the word I was trying to think of the other day, Cody. It's literally just come to me now, the Summerlands. That was what I was trying to think of. So, that, you know, that kind of mystical realms of summer and sunshine and all that kind of thing. But in a very relaxed, chill, water-based kind of way. And then I've got this, which I thought might be fun as a little DIY project for the Air Week. A little fairy garden. And all you need is either an old drawer or a box and some bits and pieces, and you can make a little fairy garden. Isn't that cute? This is from Spirit and Destiny, July 2017. It's a UK magazine. And it says, created by Katie Moon. That's Katie with a Y. And photos by Laura Ashman. So I've taken that out of my magazine as an idea. Obviously, when I present it to the class, it will be completely, you know, it'll have a different... I won't just give you this and say, here you go. That's not how it works. I'm using this as my jumping off idea for various things that we could do. I mean, I thought instead of using a box, you could use like broken plant pots, like these terracotta pots. We've all got broken ones of those, haven't we? You could like stack them up and fill them with little succulents or something. It'd be really cute. put like outdoor fairy lights in, or solar lights, solar powered fairy lights, or even candles or lanterns or something. It'd be really cute. So I've cut that all down to size, and I'm going to stick that in my book. But I haven't stuck it in just yet because I don't know where I'm going to be in week 2. I don't know how much I'm going to use up. So I'll do that when I get to week 2. In the meantime, I've also got, here's something else that's fun if you're doing some nature type journaling. I found some seed packets. These are from a magazine. Yeah, it's from a magazine. A guy who collected, Dwayne Rogers apparently, collects seed packets, old seed packets. It's a story by Julia Owen. I don't know what magazine, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. With that rick-rack, it's probably something like Daphne's Diary or Moments magazine or something like that. It's one of these matte paper magazines. Healthy living type. It could be Simple. It could be Simple magazine. I think that might be that. Anyway, yeah, I've got quite a few of these, so I thought seed packets and things would be a cool way to illustrate. Like, if I find a heliotrope over at the park, I could go and see if I can find a heliotrope, you know, find one of the flowers, because they're always dropping flowers, so I could pick up a dropped flower or a leaf or something, do a little sketch, write about it a little bit, put the little seed packet in, you know, that kind of stuff. Just be fun. But I'm not aiming for like doing a page a day or anything like that. It's going to be like very chill and relaxed, and it's not about making pretty art, it's about having a nice book at the end of it. We're going for nice, not perfect. And this, I think she'll look good there. I'll put her in there in a minute. Yeah, if you go on like eBay or AliExpress or anything like that, and you look for floral stickers, you find these. Now, I didn't buy these. Tracy Fox gave me these. She bought sets, but I've got a fairy there. Oh, I'm going to put her by for week 2. She's going in for week 2 for my fairies. And I've got all sorts of... Oh, fairies is also going to be mushrooms, so I've got loads of mushrooms. There's nothing wrong with using stickers if you don't feel confident to draw. Why not use a beautiful sticker as the artwork and then draw a diagram of all the different parts of a mushroom or something like that? You know, you don't have to... I bought bookbinding tape so I could tape in leaves and flowers. That's a good idea, yeah. I've got... I was going to talk about that in a minute. I've got... what do they call it? Sticky back plastic I use because it's archival. But you have to be really careful with collecting samples and stuff. Especially if you travel. Especially if you're in the States and you go from state to state or leave a national park or anything like that, and national trust areas and all that kind of thing. You have to be really careful. Like feathers and stuff, you are not supposed to pick up feathers. I won't pick up feathers anyway because I'm allergic. But you're not supposed to pick up feathers. You're not supposed to cross-pollinate or anything like that. That's why one of the reasons I use book plastic. So if I go away somewhere, if I put something in, I will flatten something in my book and then I'll put it on my page, but I'll cover it with book plastic. So it's totally sealed in its own little thing. You can also use vellum envelopes or even little plastic Ziploc bags or, you know, cellophane, anything like that really. A Ziploc bag, you don't necessarily have to use the ones with the Ziplocs. You can use these little ones that come with, you know, these come on just about everything these days, don't they? But if you cut that up, so there's a sticky bit that end, you could put quite a long flower in there and then seal it up and stick it to your page. So, oh no, these are really expensive. If you buy them on like AliExpress, they're 99p for a whole set of 40. I think they're 60 pieces. You get 3 of each design, 3 of 20 designs. Yeah, no, buy them on AliExpress. It'll take 4 weeks. But you can get them on eBay as well. And they arrive a bit faster because people in the UK have got them, or people in the US. You can buy them on shops here. There's all sorts of bits and pieces. I can't necessarily see what they are, but like I say, it's not about having a beautiful art journal. If you want to turn it into an art journal, then of course, you know, I'm an artist. I will almost certainly paint stuff or draw stuff. I want to experiment with playing with coloured pencils. What are those? That's those flowers again. Black-eyed Susies? Is that what they're called? Or it could be chamomile. It's hard to tell because you can't really tell how big it is. Loads of different red flowers, roses, periwinkle. Yeah, these are really nice for just adding a pop of colour if you're more into the scientific bit or the writing. And if you want to do your own artwork, then they're kind of inspiring. They're kind of good for beginners, actually, if you wanted to try and copy one into your journal. So we got the bookbinding tape for, yeah. As I don't, if anything has seeds in, I always tap them out. I never carry seeds anywhere. And I will only take a seed pod if it's empty. But, you know, you can always get a photograph of a seed. You don't necessarily have to have the seed itself. Leave the seed. Take the pod. So yeah, I thought these would be cool. So I got lots of... I'll have to sort them out, I think, into maybe week 1, and then I've got my mushrooms for my... those mushrooms are there, just there. I might as well put them with my fairy, right? So I've got a little fairy packet happening here for week 2. And then I'll use this for week 3 for the flowers. These are all leaves and stuff, and berries. I think I'll do leaves and berries and ferns. And then I've got flowers separate for week 3. And and then week 4 we're doing aquatic life, so that could be anything. I mean, you could draw tadpoles if you want to, I don't care. It's just going to be going to our water place, a place that has water. Even if it's only your rainwater butt in the garden, I mean, there's still going to be... I had somebody message me and say, oh, I'd really love to do your class. It sounds so nice, but I live in the middle of a big city. I can't really do that. And I'm like, what? Are you telling me, seriously, that you can't do any nature journaling because you don't have a single garden or park or tree or rose bush that you could go and look at on a daily basis for a month? Seriously? Do you not have any sidewalks that you can look at and go, oh, look, there's like ants and little spiders and creepy crawlies and, you know. I mean, in water, I can understand water being a bit more difficult if you live in the middle of a city. But even then, you know, there's got to be a fountain or something. Or, I mean, go to a store where they have troughs outside for dogs to drink out of, where they have water troughs. And watch all the pond skaters and stuff. And butterflies and wasps. Wasps love water. Manatees. Ooh, nice. Oh, you've got a SeaWorld near you somewhere, have you? Oh, no, you're Florida, aren't you? Of course. You've got an entire beach to look at, yes. There's lots of things you can do. And if nothing else, you know, put a little pool of water out, a little cup of water on the windowsill or something like that. Keep topping it up every day and just see what happens to it over a month. Over a month in the summer, you could get something lays its eggs in the water. You could get like a pond skater or a fly or something like that. You could get spiders weaving webs round behind the cup. You could get lichen or moss or algae growing in the water. There's all sorts of things could happen just from a glass of water left out for a month. So don't feel like, oh, well, it's nature journaling. We're going to be... It's not really nature journaling, you know? If you live in a city, what birds are nesting on the roofs of the building opposite where you work? What birds do you see over a month? You know, that's week 2 taken care of, isn't it? I keep taking these out and putting them away again. I'm a bit all over the place today, aren't I? Sorry if it's not a very good stream today. It's a bit naff, isn't it? Let's use that for... Because I'll probably... If I collect a flower or anything, I don't tend to take anything off a living plant. But if I see something on the ground that I can salvage, I will often pick it up. So I might put my summer stuff in there. So all these lovely flowers should fit in there. I might not use all of them, but, you know, if I know they're there, I'm more likely to pull them out. And then I'll just have a bag or a envelope for each week and pop them in the back. These journals this journal that I'm using comes with a moleskin pocket at the back. We all call them moleskin pockets, don't we? It's not a moleskin, but it's got a moleskin pocket. Is there any kind of journal that comes that doesn't have a moleskin pocket and an elastic band these days? Moleskin should be suing everybody for copyright, I'm telling you. Yeah, I got loads of these flowers. Ooh. Tiger lilies. My favourites. I've got a big... Do you see my... I can't show you all of it because it goes all the way down, but I've got a... Can you see that? A huge tiger lily all the way down my back. And of course then there's things like the language of flowers and stuff like that, which I was just reminded of seeing this. Like these are morning flowers and stuff. Forget-me-nots, foxgloves, dog rose. They've all got different meanings, especially for Victorian stuff. We've got some birds, that can go in week 2 as well. We've got a weird little rabbit. I don't think he'll be going anywhere. He'll be going in my Alice in Wonderland book. Magnolia sticker. Boyards. I'm not terribly into drawing birds, but you know, these are more kind of strange things. It's not really a butterfly. Yeah, these are all kind of weird stickers, but these are more collage type elements. Oh, for God's sake. Maddie, give it a rest, babe. Maddie! Sorry, I had to shout. It's the one trouble with having summer and living on a corner is that people walk their dogs past at the front and the dogs see them and they go nuts, and then they walk past and they go out the back and then they go nuts out the back. Oh, trials of living next to a park. Right, those are all not... no, it's too frou-frou. So those, I think, I'll put back. I'll use those in my regular journal. I've got this beautiful thing of sunflowers here as well. Oh, there's another thing about seeds. It's the other part of that page about seeds. Doesn't say what magazine it's from though. I'm going to say that's probably from Simple magazine. But look at all the detail on that though. Photographs, professional photographs are so good for getting the details and really seeing, because you can see so much more on a photograph than you can even when you're up close to something. You don't necessarily see something. It's all about learning to look at things, but that's part of what we're going to be doing in class, is learning to look at things. which sounds simple, but you know, how many of you could right now describe in detail, or even do a sketch in detail of something like your partner's wristwatch? Something you see every single day, and yet, would you actually be able to, in detail? I always think it's fascinating how our brains work. We know what a face looks like. We know when something's got a human face, or if it's a dog or a cat or whatever, just from seeing that bit of the face. Somehow our brain knows what it is, even if we've never seen it before. We can go, oh, that looks like a dog. It's fascinating. Right, these are all air elements, so those are going in there. I don't have any water. To get some water stuff. Maybe I could use her for water, actually. I don't have much. Oh, that's fire. That's her. Maybe I could use her for water, actually, I think. Because she's blue. Let's put her in there. That messes up the front of my journal idea, but never mind. So this is going to be for week 1 for free catalogues to use as collage. Yeah, especially from like garden centres and stuff. Okay, so I've got that. This is all fire stuff. I need to get some more watery bits. But water is week 4, so I'm not worried about that. I've got bits for all the other weeks. I've got my sunflowers. I don't quite know what I want to do with those yet, so I haven't done anything with them. I don't want to fold them up or anything in case I suddenly decide I'm going to use them somehow. Huh. Well, that was a bit of a disappoint. I'm disappointed now. I was going to do stuff and I kind of haven't really... I don't think I've done any sketching either, which is all pathetic. But I was sick last week, okay guys? I was sick. I did sketch Peter Kane the dog trainer. I follow him on YouTube. And he has a raven called Sam. So I sketched Sam the raven the other day in ballpoint pen while he was on the YouTube channel. I did these really rough and quick, and then this one I went back in and worked on it a bit more to make it a bit more Sam-like. This one looks very much like Sam. This looks like a very surprised budgie. And this kind of looks like Sam, but it's not quite right. It's not... I made it to... You can see from the length of the beak. The eye is about an inch off. The eye should have been back here, and the head. I should have lined it up with that one, basically, and I didn't. So the beak is the right length, but it's too deep. No, it's not too deep, because he's got his head tilted like that. So the depth of the beak is right, but the width of the beak is right, but then the head and the eye are not lined up with that one. And if they had been, I think it would have been more successful. But you can't really move the eye once you've coloured it all in, so. But it was only meant to be a squetch. A squetch, that's a new word. Quick sketch, squetch. TM. Yeah, that's literally all I've done. I didn't even finish the art journal challenge, the April art challenge this year. Oh, some more flowery bits. I wanted to try the paper in this big book to see if it was what it was like with pencils, because I think it'd be really nice to use with pencil. Didn't I have a piece of spare paper? I do. I'm not going to do anything in my book without you guys, by the way, or without you guys are in the class. I'm not going to start working in my journal until... Well, I am going to work slightly ahead of you. I have to for filming purposes, but I'm not going to work too far ahead. I won't do anything that you don't get to see. Let's put it that way. I haven't been checking chat. June's in a... You live in a tourist area, but June is still calm. Yeah, it's when the schools break up, isn't it? See, I'm the opposite because I walk out my gate and right next door is a school. So for me, it's a bit hellish until schools break up and then it goes really quiet. And the football's finished for the season now until September, so that's all done. So I don't have to worry about parking and stuff anymore. This is my kit that I've been taking with me. This is basically it. This is my pens are... I've got a pencil, regular pencil, and a mechanical pencil because I prefer drawing with that one, but sometimes the lead goes too blunt, and then I have to switch to a mechanical pencil. I've got my 2 ballpoint pens in my 4 different colours on each. So I've got black, red, green, and blue, and lime, turquoise, pink, and purple. It's Bics. I've got a regular black pen because this one is super thick and chunky. It's like a 2mm thing. It's not as good for drawing as this one. So I use this one for colouring in and then this one for drawing. I've got a white pen, of course. And then I've got my Duane Colour Softs, which I haven't gone through. I don't know if I want to... I'm too lazy to carry all of these with me all the time. But I don't know if I want to go through them and try and decide which ones to keep and which ones to take out. I've got my drawing pencils. I want to try those. But the more I think about them, the more I think this might be better for urban sketching. Because they're super creamy. They're not really good for detail work. So I might take those out and put them in my urban sketching. Plus they're very urban sketching colours, aren't they? But a lot of what I do is urban sketching, so, you know, even in my local park, it's not all green. There's lots of built up bits and walls and fountains and stuff. So, I did take a couple of colours out because there was like 5 colours that were like all the same. They all looked identical. When you put them all together like this, they all look the same. Like those two look the same. Are they the same colour? Brown earth. Yeah, so I got 1 brown earth. I don't need 2. I've got a white and a white. See, I'm already getting rid of colours. I don't need either of those because this white is better. This was a good idea after all. I don't know why I've got duplicates. I think I ended up with a... I think I bought the portrait set to get the 2 beige and pink tones that weren't in my set. What else have I got? Have I got 2 greys there? Is that 2 greys? Same. That one and that one look suspiciously alike. What do you think? Steel grey and dove grey. Oh, I used these the other day and there was absolutely no difference between the 2. But I like the dove grey. So I'll keep the dove grey and I'll put the steel grey in my urban sketching. I've got a black, which is better than the black that comes in the Colour Soft, which I've got 2 of, so I'll put those in my urban sketching as well. Oh, this is looking lighter already. This is a good idea. Okay, do those 2 browns look the same to you guys? I think they might be. I think those 2 pinks are the same as well. Oh, where did that brown go? That one and that one. They look very similar to me. What have we got? Ochre and ochre. Okay. Let's put that one there and that one in there. Oh, this is good actually. I didn't realise I had so many duplicates. Those look the same. What do you think? I watched... Was it Mitts the other day? I was watching her clearing out her pencil case. It was absolutely fascinating. And I'm well on the way to doing the same thing now. Hey Mara! Can I see any others that look similar? That one is not. I don't have a blue purple. Sorry, a red purple in this set, so I put that one in there. Those browns look similar. Are they the same? Dark terracotta and dark terracotta. Okay then, that can go in my urban sketching. Those blues look similar, but are they the same? I'm not very good with blues. No, I think they're different. Blue, electric blue and pole blue. We don't have a huge amount of blue flowers. We tend to have reds, pinks and purples, but there are some blue. So I think 3 blue and a royal. Oh, that's purple. What else? Are those the same? No. So let's do dark brown, pale brown, mid brown. Well, we're doing trees first. Oh, here's an idea. Oh, now I'm getting there. Hang on a minute. We're doing trees and foliage first. So if I take black and white and the browns, I'm not going to need blue for trees, am I? I might need grey for shade. I'm not going to need pinks and purples, I don't think. Not those kind of purples, anyway. Take the neutrals. And there's a grey green and a dark grey and a dark green and a mint green and a light green and a yellow green. And then we also have a lot of maples, so I'm going to need my reds and yellows. So we've got acid yellow. No, it's more golden than that, that's too cool. I want strong colours. Peach and cream, we're not going to need those. Not going to need pinks for trees. There's another black. How many blacks have I got, for goodness sake? Didn't I already take the blacks out? This is Maple's colours. So I've got bright orange, orange, pimento, red and cadmium. And then I've got cranberry, which is a very deep red. I think that'd be good for the maple trees because I really want to draw the maple trees. Blue, I don't think I'm going to need dark blue, so that's indigo and royal purple, so we'll put that away for Flower Week. And then that's too pinky. And those two, I've got cloud blue, which I actually really like for sketching with. And I've got greyed lavender, and I'm thinking if I put greyed lavender and peach and cream in there, I've got week 1 and week 2 because that's trees and mushrooms. That means I can take a smaller bag. And then I can take out a lot of the browns and put the colours in for Flower Week. And then I can go for blues and greens for water. Yay! That works. I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Let's chuck those in there. So, rather than messing up my system, rather than mess up my system, I'm now going to grab a couple of these to try on this paper. Well, I might try these as well, actually. These are the drawing pencils. They're really, really, really creamy and soft. So, what have we got? Where's my pencils? No, regular drawing pencils. Grey pencil, there we go. So, I'm not going to do anything too... I want to try colour matching. Let me... Oh, here we go. I got this as well. I got this from Tracy. She bought loads of these really wide washi tapes. They are the most frustrating things in the entire world. Trying to take a section of this and stick it across the bottom of your page. Yeah, it's fun. But let's do something from one of these. Just see if we can try and colour match. When in doubt, draw mushrooms. Am I right? I got browns and blacks and greys. There we go. So let's do a... I'm just doing this to try my pencils, to be honest. I'm not doing it any particular reason. It's got kind of rings on the top of it like that. It's got gills coming down. Try and colour match that. Sorry, you can't really see it, but I'm doing this one. You'll see it when I colour it. Let me show you what I mean about the water. Just looking for my watercolour tin. Ah, there it is. Under something, of course it is. Oh, there's some more of those lavender, those seed packet things. Seems cool. So if I use this, you can see what it's like when you add water to this paper. It doesn't bother me that it buckles, but it might bother some of you, so. This is not particularly super wet. So for a basic light wash, not too bad at all. A little bit of buckling. You can see it doming, but it's not crinkling. Oh, hey Jane. Get to the good bits. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place today, aren't I? It's because I've been away for a week. I have a week off and my brain goes all over the place. If I then came back in, like if you were using watercolour pencil or something and you came back in with a bit more water, can you see it starts to pill up? Now that's not the end of the world. If it's still moving about, if it's still moving the colour, just dab your paper instead, rather than scrubbing at it, and kind of just push the colour without trying to disrupt the paper. Okay, but you can see that it is buckling now. It's still not wrinkly, you know, it's not the end of the world, but this pilling will bother some people. If I went straight in now and tried to add some more colour, like if I tried and put some, say it's a flower and you want to do wet in wet, that's going to be a struggle because the more water you add to this, see it's even, the brush is actually sticking to the paper. So you can do it. I wouldn't necessarily advise it. Let's put some dark in the centre. Kind of looks like a poppy. Well, the secret to dealing with pilling, because it bugs me as well. I don't like pilling. That's why I don't really want to use watercolour in this paper. I could get away with a light wash. So like this mushroom with a lot of paint. Well, not lots of paint, but a damp brush, but not soaking wet. You can go in and throw some colour, base colour, which is what I like to do. Work quickly, don't go over the paper in any particular spot more than once. So like with a water brush rather than dipped brush. That would be plenty if all I was doing a quick light wash just to capture the colours. Dog hair. Dog hair. Come on, get off. A quick light wash to capture the colours. I've messed that up now. That was really nice. And then once it's completely dry, go in with a colour pencil or a pen. Either would work. This would work well with black ink as well, to go in over the top and draw on it, almost like a diagram. It would look fantastic. But this is still wet. That's part of your problem. If your paper pills, it doesn't have that water-resistant coating that allows the water to sit on top of the paper. You know, like a moleskin sketchbook, you put water in that, it will seep into the paper, but it will also pool on top of the paper and you can blot it away. Well, this is soaking. The back of the paper is wet and the front of the paper is wet. So that's you sitting around waiting for your sketchbook to dry before you can close your picture. Whereas this, oh, well, that bit wasn't dry, but the rest of it is dry. I could close that and it'd be fine. I usually put a piece of kitchen towel between each page if I'm waiting for something to dry anyway, so that wouldn't be a problem for me. But this is still wet. How can you sketch quickly if something's still wet? You can't. This is too wet still to draw on with pencil, and I already want to go in and draw on it. So that would be tricky, but with colour pencil, I think we'll be all right. This is quite dry because I didn't put a lot of water on it. So where's my mushroom gone? Oh, a lighter yellow. Let's just put a... Oh yeah, it's nice with a pencil. It's got a bit of tooth to it. Hello, noisy children. Oh, I like colour paper. I like colouring on paper that's got a little bit of tooth. This is not the right brown, but I'm working with a limited number of pencils. Doesn't really matter. I'm not doing a nature drawing. I'm just testing my pencils. I like it. There's a crease in the paper there, that's why it's behaving weird. I like it. Depends where you live for drying time. Most of the time, within a few less seconds, everything here is dry. Oh yeah, it tends to be here. It's considering it's humid. It tends to be dry here, but that's what I'm saying. This is still wet. Look, it's picking up on my hand. This is completely dry, but it's the paper. It's not how things normally dry. It doesn't depend on the weather necessarily. It depends on the paper and how much water you're using. I'm using my normal amount of water, and I'm frustrated with this because it's still wet. Not only is it wet on the front, it's still wet on the back. By now, having gone and coloured something else, I would expect to be able to go like this and brush off the pills, which I can't because it's still wet. And then be able to go in with colour pencil. I can, because if I put anything near that, it's going to be putting holes in the paper. That is annoying. This is not as water happy as the cartridge sketchbooks that See White does. But for dry media, it's lovely. So if you want to do wet, I would say go for the watercolour one. Maybe that's why they do a watercolour travel journal. Specifically for people who want to do watercolour. The thing is, people who do watercolour tend to always do watercolour. There's not that many of us who do mixed media out in the field. People tend to just use a bit of pencil, bit of pen, mostly just a bit of pen, bit of watercolour. I see it in our group after a couple of weeks, almost everybody just goes, oh, I'm just going to use pen and watercolour. It's like everybody's default. Possibly because there's so many tutorials for urban sketching on using just pen and watercolour. It's a possibility. Maybe they find it easier because that's what people are teaching, to actually do that themselves, or they see other people doing it and they think, oh well, I'll do that. But I definitely prefer colour pencils. I mean, you don't have to carry any paint with you for a start. No paint, no water. See, Risha, no leaks in your bag. You don't have to take a water brush. I hate using water brushes. That's not true. I don't mind using water brushes, but I don't like working with them. Let's put it that way. I don't mind using them for, 2 seconds in your journal if I want to reactivate my ink tents or my mermaid markers or something, but I would much rather use a proper brush. And that means water and everything else that you need to carry with you, and I'm too lazy for that. This is actually really nice. I mean, I'm doing it over watercolour paint, so it's different than just doing it straight onto the paper. But it's definitely feels really nice to work on. Let's try one of those. Oh, that's a red. I don't want a red. I want a dark. Oh, I could use red on the top. Dark sepia red. Okay. No. See, these would be good for urban sketching. They never quite have the colour that I want. I want a dark brown. Chocolate. There we go. That's a dark brown. Watercolour pencils. Yeah, it might be okay with, like you say, with a Inktense pencils and a little bit of water and a water brush. I haven't tried that. But see, this is still wet. Look, paint's coming off on my fingers. That's not just damp, that's wet. The paint is still wet. That should have dried by now on a normal piece of paper. But for pilling, if you just go in with once it's dry, can't do it when it's damp, see? If you just go in when it's dry with your finger, you can push all the pills off. They just come straight off. A lot of people try to get the pills off when it's still wet. Don't do that. Wait till it dries and then brush them off. And they'll come off. Ooh, these are creamy, creamy. Ooh, I like these. Ooh, these would be nice for urban sketching. I do like my Prismacolors, but I find them very frustrating sometimes because there's so much you can't do in terms of layering. And then the Faber-Castells are the other way. In order to layer them heavily, you have to like go over and over and over and over and over it. And you know, that's more of a sit at home and draw kind of thing. Whereas this is a bit more immediate. I'm getting instant results, as it were, with what I'm doing. I can see things happening straight away, which is, for me, when you're doing field work, that's what you want, is to be able to see things happening straight away. You want to be able to know that I pick up this colour, that's the colour it's going to come out on paper. Let's just do a little bit of... I don't want to outline really, I just want to kind of do patches, as it were. So I'm following the watercolour bits. Where the watercolour pooled, I'm just outlining it. It gives a really nice effect. Gives kind of a pattern without having to do a pattern. So you get lights and shadows and things without actually having to do any work. Again, that's what you want when you're out in the field, see? Actually, I really like this. I'm liking the pencil thing. Let's try this creamy. It's a brown ochre. I might want that one as well, which is what? Yellow ochre. Dwent, you and your weird colour names. See, that yellow ochre is nowhere near the same as this yellow ochre. Those are not the same colour. Sorry, but they're not even the same colour on the box, on the tip. But they're both yellow ochre. Mm-hmm. And then you have names that you don't know what they are. Well, I never know what they are anyway. Other people always seem to know what they are. I never know. Shiraz, I had to Google that one. I'll try it with coloured watercolour pencils in a second, Jen. I like the texture on this paper for colour pencils. I'm pressing very, very lightly and I'm getting lots of texture. I don't like paper that's too smooth for pencil sketching. I tried to use Prismacolors in a Moleskine sketchbook once. That was entertaining. It was basically just like shifting a pan of wax around after a while. Wasn't colouring with pencils anymore. It was just shifting wax around from one side of the page to the other. Oh, I like this. This is nice. I've basically stopped using my reference at this point. I'm just colouring. I'm just following the lines. These are going to be really good. Ooh, I want to go open sketching now. Should have taken these with me this morning. But I was lazy and I went, nah, I'll just take my ballpoint. Ballpoint pen, that'll do. Okay, let's try the lighter colour on here. Oh, that's pretty. Chocolate? Yes. Hey off, Ina. See you later. Of course, it's tea time for you girls, isn't it? I always forget that when I start late. Sorry. Must start on time. On school nights. I'm getting hungry as well now, actually. I might have to go have some tea. Yeah, that's a much more yellow ochre than that other one. Dwent, sort your colour catalogue out. Not bad. I like it. See, it looks really... Oh, let me get the camera focus. Apart from my little boo-boo there with my watercolour. So it's got some nice texture on it. I didn't do very much with it, just a bit of colouring pencil. So that's pretty cool, I like that. Look at this is still wet. It's a really nice effect, but it's still wet. It's dried enough to take the pills off now, so I can take all the pilling off. But I think that paper is very compromised now. I think if you went in and tried to colour pencil over the top of that, you'd be digging into your paper quite quickly if you weren't careful. Watercolour pencil. Watercolour pencil. Watercolour pencils. Where are my Inktense pencils? I hardly ever use them, so I don't have them out. Oh, there they are. 1 second. I'll go and grab a nice bright colour so you'll be able to see it. Still haven't sorted my studio. Because I suck and I'm lazy. While we're at it, let's try some of these as well. I don't want black. Let's try yellow. Okay. So, watercolour, not so good. Oh, water brush. I'll use a small brush so that I don't use a lot of water. Inktense, here we go. So these dry permanent. But while they're wet, you're supposed to be able to blend them and move them quite easily. They colour quite happily. So you could certainly colour with them. Let me find a small brush so I don't overwater the paper. There we go. on. There's a bit more water on this side. Actually, that's not too bad. This is the point where it would start pilling. But that's not too bad. I think you could get away with water pencils and a water brush, but I think it might... That water's starting to come through on the back, which is weird because it didn't there. It is on this side, so... I think if you were using watercolour pencils just for the odd little bit of colour, as opposed to like watercolours, I think it will be okay. If you're doing like little illustrations and you just want to do like just colour this bit in a little bit or whatever, then you could do that. But it's the amount of water you have to be very careful of. So you wouldn't want a big, thick, chunky water brush and be squeezing your watercolour brush. You'd want to do it, probably colour it and then just use a very small, thin water brush just to reactivate the colour. You know, so you might do, I don't know, maybe you draw a bit of a house and you just colour it in. You don't have to colour them completely with these, so that's good as well. It doesn't compromise the texture of the paper. And you could do some windows. Just do a couple of windows in the middle there. There we go. And then you could come in with a small water brush, not very, very wet. As long as you're not going over. I've just remembered where my water brushes are. Here we go. Small watercolour brush. Yeah, I think you could get away with that. As long as you're not squeezing extra water onto the page and expecting to be able to do lots of different wet in wet and everything, I think you could get away with it. Especially if you let that dry now, because there's nowhere near as much water on that. Like this is almost dry now, and this is still damp. I think if you let that dry, and then you went back in with your colour pencils over the top, you get something similar to this, but without all this buckling and craziness. So I would put a yes on that, with the caveat of not too much water. I want to try these. These are the Ecoline brush pens. I think these will bleed. I don't know. They're watercolour pens. Yeah, it might be nice to just have a couple, just to like add a little pop of colour here and there. See, this is cartridge paper. It's made for ink. And these are ink. So in theory, no bleed through. There you go. But I bet if I add water to that, it'll bleed like crazy. I'm not going to do a crazy amount of water, but I'm going to do it the easy way. Let me see if I can blend these two colours together, which is what you're supposed to be able to do with these. You're supposed to be able to reactivate them and use them. Yeah, they don't reactivate properly without, that would pill the paper straight away. You'd have to pull your water like you do with your watercolour, and then it would get too wet and it wouldn't dry properly. And if you did it just like most people would do it, which would be, you know, wet brush, and in you go. Yeah, straight away it's pilling. It's pretty much removing the colour from the page. Ew, what a mess. Most of that's on my brush now. No, it still didn't bleed through. I'm impressed with that. So the ink doesn't bleed through at all. In fact, none of the colours bleed through at all. That's really good. It works with fountain pen too, this paper. I want to try the markers, the mermaid markers now. What happens with them? Because they're similar to the Ecoline brush pens. So they won't bleed through, but these move around a lot easier because they're so juicy, loosey-goosey. Whereas those dried straight away. These are still wet on the page. I can still see the wetness on the page. Oh, those work. Oh boy, yeah. Boy, howdy. And that's not even with a very wet brush. Let me try it with the water brush. Oh, that's much better. Okay, mermaid markers win over the Ecolines. Still got to be careful of the amount of water you use, but blending. Yeah, I'm supposed to be able to blend. I'm not going to try and say that. You're not supposed to be able to blend blue and brown together. God, that was difficult to say. Oh, those are nice. Okay, if you've got mermaid markers, they work beautiful on this paper. In fact, I would get a little swatchy of something, like a makeup palette or something. And before I went, I would get little bits of my colours. Oh, that's the wrong green, never mind. I would get little bits of my colours and let it dry. And then when I got there, I would reactivate my colour with water. See, when you leave these to dry, this happens. And then you can just go in and just pick up a little bit. Much better. Much better. Moving into a friend's house at the end of the month. So packing almost everything up and putting it in storage. Oh no! Is this part of the big plan, Mara? Every damn time I get covered in this green, and every time it won't come off. How do I get covered in this green every single time? It's only this one. It's always this same colour. First step of it. Oh, interesting. Now I'm gonna have green everywhere. Yeah, I think you could get away with that. It's still wet though. Look. It's gonna take a while to dry. I guess if it was hot. I guess if you were out in the sunshine and it's hot, they probably would dry quite quickly. I think you'd probably be better off though, if you want to use pen, I think you'd be better off with something like the Crayolas. Honestly. Because you can water activate them later if you want to. But you could colour with these. You know, you can draw with these, you can colour with them, you can get really fine and thick lines. Okay, the Crayolas are better than the mermaid markers. So this is good. We're getting cheaper. We're getting cheaper. I mean, you know what? They won't blend as beautifully because they're not light fast, but. How easily that goes in though. And hardly any water, that will dry really quickly. The bottom leaves are already dry. This is drying now. That's dry now. Okay, so water-soluble ink works better than watercolour paint. No. Watercolour pencil works better than watercolour paint. And watercolour ink works better than watercolour anything else. So the stuff that is ink is working better, but dude, these Crayolas are like, you get 52 for about £7. And you've got loads of different colours. You can draw and sketch and letter with them. These are the ones that a lot of the letterers use. I cannot do cool lettering, but let's just pretend for a second that I can. So I could do you have to be able to do that press, light, press, light, press, light, press. I can't do that. I'm not coordinated enough. But dude, these little Crayola markers. Well, okay, if you need a brush to do it, here you go. You take your Crayola markers and some wax paper and or a bit of plastic and or a bit of acetate. This is why I have a plastic ruler in my sketchbook. And you do it that way. Yeah, it's marginally easier with a brush. So you could use these like watercolour paints. They won't be as vibrant. But, you know, to me, that green looks better than that mess anyway, to be honest, because that reacted with the paper so badly. I wanted to try these as well, because these are Papermate flares, and these are supposed to not bleed. These are non-bleed pens. So these, and they're nice and hard. So they might be good for titles and stuff because they're nice and bright. No, no bleeding. Actually, this paper doesn't bleed at all. It's really good paper. Are these water-based? Should we find out? By Jove, they jolly well are. Ooh, they blend. Okay, Papermate Flair's moving up the ranks. Okay, let's try this. How about... Oh, I'm tempted to take my Papermate Flares with me now because I've got like 8 of these. 12 maybe. It's a lot less than I've got colour pencils. And because I've only got that many, I would only be able to use that many colours, wouldn't I? The fewer colours you've got, the less arsing about there is, right? Oh, you've seen a lot of the planner girls have their planners ruined by Papermates in water. Yeah, that would be a concern, I think. Especially if you're journaling out in the field. You know, what if you drop your journal in a puddle? What if it rains? But at the same time, for field journaling, that's part of the adventure, isn't it? You know, here's my lovely page that I've been working on. Well, it doesn't have to be lovely. It can be a nice page. It can be an informative page. It could just be drawing... Oh, accidental Halloween candy. You could just be drawing dandelion petals or something and doing diagrams in yellow. And it starts to rain and you close your book and when you open it again you've got yellow splatters. That would be kind of cool. It's like accidental art when that happens. You don't want it in your planner though. Ooh, these are nice to blend. Oh. You have to keep... They're very reactive though. Oops, yep, that's very wet. They're super reactive. You have to clean your brush in between. You couldn't go from a dark colour to a light colour unless you wanted to... Like if I went back up to there now, there wouldn't be any light there, it'd be dark. You have to keep cleaning your brush, would be a bit annoying. Okay, Papermate Flares and Crayola markers are working best so far, which is hilarious given how much some of the other stuff costs. Inktense pencils, mermaid markers. But also, it's really cool because you could take your whole set of 48 Crayolas with you. Oh, boo-hoo, at some point you leave it on the bus. So that's okay, just pop to the supermarket and go and pick up another set for £5. You know, it's not the end of the world if you lose a set of Crayola markers, is it? It's just, you know, thank the universe it wasn't anything more important and wish the kid who finds them luck. But if you lose something that's a £5, you don't mind replacing it. Once or twice, anyway. But if I took my Inktense out in the field and then I left them on a bus, I would be incredibly annoyed. Well, I probably wouldn't actually, because I don't actually use my Inktense that much. I'm not that taken with them. I don't adore them. I would be, let's say my mermaid markers. If I took my mermaid markers out on a bus and I left them on a bus, I would be really, really annoyed because those things are expensive and I don't want to have to replace them. But Papermate flares, you can pick them up in Woolies for like, WH Smith's for like £1.50. You can get the packs of them in different colours in the supermarket. They're school supply stuff. But look at that. Look at bright. Look how bright that is. Such bright, intense colour. Versus art pens, which lifted up completely. Inktense, which are nowhere near as bright as they should be. Watercolours, which just look awful on this paper. I'm sorry, but the more I look at that, the worse it looks. But on watercolour paper, that would look lovely. Cheap as Chips Crayola, lovely and bright. Mermaid markers do look lovely, but I wouldn't want to take them out of the house. Plus, they don't travel very well because you have to keep them upright, which is a pain. They're very much a desk item. But they will be nice for, like, if you'd done a nice sketch while you were out and not had time to add any colour or only added bits of colour, coming home and doing something like this with it in really beautiful colours, if you were really happy with your sketch, would be really good, wouldn't it? And I'm liking the pencil. I do like, oh, I might have to take my Crayolas now. Crayolas or Papermates? My question now is, does this... Obviously the outlines are still... I didn't do all of it. So let me do it at this end. Let me just go over the outlines so that, see, the outlines disappear. The dark pen kind of disappears once it's wet. But a lot of these pens, even when they're water-based, like a nice little trick if you go out and you want to use watercolour over a pen or a black pen that isn't water-based, just give your paper a really quick spray with your water spray and then dab it off straight away and it will seal the water pen. It will seal the pen, usually enough for you to watercolour over it. Because most pens, once they've been activated, they don't reactivate again. Which is why gouache is so unusual, because you can reactivate it infinitely. I'm thinking the Crayolas probably don't. The Papermates might. What do you reckon? What do you guys think, given how you've seen them work? I think if I went over that, little bits of colour... Well, if I went over that, I don't think anything would move. If I went over that, I think little bits of colour might move, but not much. And I think if I went over that, it might just completely disappear. I think this might be liftable, which is, again, both a blessing and a curse, because you can put in highlights. What doth you think? I need to do my hair again. Look, I've got ginger streaks. I don't know if it picks up in this light, but I have. I've got ginger streaks right the way across the top of my head. That damn ginger is coming through the black. Let's try gouache while we're waiting for you to answer. What do you reckon? Do you reckon the Crayolas will lift? Do you reckon the Papermates will lift? See what gouache is like, because gouache is a lot drier. You don't use as much water with it, and it dries to kind of a chalky consistency. Can be reactivated, of course, but you have that problem with gouache anyway. If you're used to painting with gouache, you know that you can reactivate it with water. So, colour's nice, a little bit streaky. Not terribly even. But to be honest, gouache is a bit streaky and uneven anyway. But it's not pilling the paper like watercolour does, because it's more paint than water, I suspect. But actually, gouache looks really good on this paper. It's not going dull like the watercolours did. Mind you, it's not dry yet. You think they'll both lift? Papermates will be bad, Crayola won't be as bad. Okay. Look at that. That gouache is really good. That's my cheap set of gouache that I bought for £5 off Amazon. It's in my Amazon shop if you want to find it. It's Memory brand? I don't know. It just said Memory 24 Artists Gouache non-acrylic. Boom. Colour pencils would be hard to leave home, but I'd be annoyed trying to find colours while out and about. Yeah. When I take these out and about, I usually, if I'm going to colour, I will normally take them out and put them on the table so that I can find them easily. I'm not a big fan of the fact that these don't have full body. I would much rather deal with this than that. I find this very difficult to deal with. But, you know, Derwent's not going to change their livery just for me. But Faber-Castells, I brought my Faber-Castells over because I want to see what they work like as well. My Faber-Castells aren't going out in the field with me. Those were horrendously expensive. Those are never leaving my house. But I brought them because when I come home, I can always do stuff with them. Okay, let's try the Faber-Castells somewhere while I've still got a dry bit of paper. Oh, this gouache looks really good. Look how bright that is. That's not bleed through, that's me. I've got it on my fingers. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, and it's dry. It's dry already. So if you had like a little, I mean, you can't really use gouache in a tubs like pans like you can with watercolour. You can't fill up a big pan and have it work. It doesn't really work like that. You have to use very small amounts. But you could use something like this, which is actually what I've got this for. Like these have got sloping wells. So you could put just a very small amount on one of these, or even, you know, use a bit and then mix it with water, kind of like that. Can you see that? Kind of like that. You know, mix it with water into the well so that it coats the well so it doesn't break up and chip off. Otherwise this happens and it all breaks up and comes apart. Do you think colours would fade on the Crayola and Papermates? They will fade on the Crayolas and Papermates because neither of them are light fast. However, if you've got it in a journal, it won't matter. I'm specifically talking journaling. I wouldn't use either of them for a professional piece I was going to stick on the wall. But if you're going to use them in your journal, where they're going to be closed, can't see any problem with that. They scan really nicely too. You could always scan it and have a print done of it if you want to put it on the wall, which would look nicer anyway than having your book out. Okay, let's see how these work then. I'm going to use a soft brush. Let's try, first off, let's try, oh no, it looks like it's raining. Oh, that's not making any difference. Oh, oh, oh. But I didn't do the outside of the pens on this, so all of this bit has been reactivated, so let's try that. Oh yeah, if you got that wet, that's coming off completely. You could erase that. Oh, it's coming off. Cody knows her pens. Yeah, don't reckon I recommend Papermate if your book might get wet. Let's try this. Well, let's try these. Yeah, those reactivate as well. Not as badly, but they would reactivate. Most watercolour stuff will, to be honest, unless it Inktense won't because they dry permanent. Ecolines are a permanent ink. That is watercolour, so that would. I wonder if my gouache will reactivate. Oh, it will, look. Ooh, you could use the back of your book. You could use the back of your book to do little, almost like peelers, little triangles of little squares of colour, and then go in and pick up your colour. Look at that. Look how pretty. That would work. Oh yeah, Crayola's bleeding as well. Nowhere near as much as the other stuff though, so. But yeah, you could lift that up as well. That would, if I kept going with that, that would lift up too. What a shame, because those are really beautiful. So it seems, apart from the gouache, which is re-wettable and does weird stuff anyway, it would seem that nothing really bleeds through this paper. However, if you want it to be permanent after it's been wetted, you have to have something that's not going to be very bright, or it will dry not very bright. I didn't say that the right way around. If you want it to dry bright, like the Crayolas and the Papermates, which is what I like, the really bright colours, you risk the fact that your ink is never going to dry. It's never going to be permanent. So anytime you get it wet, it's going to bleed again. Can email Crayola on light fastness, but I still have plenty of my kid art. Yeah, but do you have it up in the sun, on the sunshine, in the sunshine on the wall or on the fridge or whatever? Or do you have it put away? Crayolas are not light fast, it says on the box. But they're not water fast either, so. But that makes sense because they're washable, aren't they? They're kids' pens. They're supposed to be washable. You're supposed to be able to get them all over your nice white school shirt and still be able to get it off again with one wash. So it makes sense for this to happen. But the permanent colours are nowhere near as bright. Well, if it's put away, then it's not in the light. By light fast, they mean if it's left out for a prolonged period in direct sunlight, it will not fade. And prolonged period varies from manufacturer to manufacturer, but it can vary from 2 weeks to 6 months. But if it's put away, it's not getting any light. If things fade when they're put away, it's more likely to be the humidity causing it to lift. Do you get a lot of, like, if you put pages together, they either stick or they, like, transfer onto each other? Do you get a lot of that? But not with pencil. Because that's the key to humidity. If your pencil in a book, when you close the book, if it smudges, your humidity is not that high where you're keeping your book. But if you have your book indoors and it's closed and you've used pencil and there's absolutely zero smudging, the chances are your humidity is through the roof, because pencil, graphite, once you get it wet, doesn't smudge. Yeah, but if it's not in the sun, it can't react with the sun, Cody. If you put something out, if you coloured something with Crayolas and put it out on the windowsill, it would probably fade within a day or two. Whereas here, I could put it out in direct sunlight. It might take 6 to 8 weeks for it to fade as much as you would fade in a week. But if it's put away inside a book, it's not getting any direct sunlight. I think maybe you're confusing light fast with archival. Because archival stuff, Crayola is absolutely not archival. Because it's water-based. Nothing water-based is archival. Yeah, but rot is not to do with direct sunlight. Rot is to do with humidity. I think you're confusing archival qualities with light fastness. Light fastness is purely to do with direct sunlight and UVA and UVB. Archival is to do with, you know, if you dropped this piece of paper into water, would all the ink lift up off the page, or would you be able to take it out and still be able to see what was on the page? That's humidity. Now you might have something, unless it's in a completely 100% hermetically sealed, like, you know, watertight, airtight, watertight tub, where no humidity can get into it and it was dry to start with, then things should stay archival. But if you've just got it put away in a cardboard box and it's still fading, that's humidity. That's humidity eating away anything. Yeah. You're confusing archival and light fastness, that's all. It's easy to do because they both basically mean the same thing to a lot of people. You know, if you pull it out in 6 years, are you still going to be able to read what you wrote? I wouldn't suggest you using friction pens and trying to have them still work, because I bet friction pens, it would just get too hot. Mostly it would just be too hot where you are. Although you do have air conditioning, so. But yeah, light fastness is only to do with direct sunlight. It has nothing to do with archival quality. It's only an aspect of archival quality. Something can be light fast, but not archival. Something can be archival, but it should be light fast to a certain extent. So it would fade, but it wouldn't completely disappear in water. Whereas something that is light fast, it won't fade, but you could still put it in water and it'd disappear. Gouache is light fast, but if you put it in water, it'll disappear. Even if it's like 60 years old, 200 years old, doesn't matter. You can reactivate it indefinitely. But it shouldn't fade, because a good quality gouache should be light fast. Does that help? Oh yeah, no, you only use friction pens for random notes. Yeah, same. Because we always have the heating on, you see. Did I actually get round to trying I didn't get round to trying my Faber-Castells after all that, did I? Let me just try those as well and see what those are like. Although, like I said, I wouldn't take these out into the field. I wouldn't want to lose them. I can replace my Derwent set, my 36 set, for like 20 quid on eBay. I can't... Actually, I don't like the way these are a bit unpredictable on this paper. They work better on smooth paper. So that answers that question. But, I mean, they're okay, but they're a little bit unpredictable. It would take a little bit of getting used to be able to get these to... Because these, you should be able to blend the blue and the red to get purple with these. And that would be tricky. You could do it, but it would be tricky. Takes a little bit of getting used to, whereas the others, I just picked them up and started drawing with them. There was no question of whether it was going to be difficult or not. This is quite tricky. Tricky. But the advantage of these is that you can keep layering them. Whereas Prismacolors on these papers, you can't layer the Prismacolors. it's so toothy that as soon as you put anything down on it in Prismacolor, it's a waxy sheen. You can just about put one other colour over the top, and that's it. Two colours. Two colour blending with Prismacolors. Faber-Castells would work. I prefer the Derwents. I prefer these because they're cheap and I don't mind breaking them or losing them. Plus they're not as fragile. Like if you drop these, they don't break because they're bonded. They're bonded wood. So like Prismacolors, you know when this happens a lot with Prismacolors. We've all got Prismacolors that look like this, haven't we? Even if we've only got two Prismacolors, one of them looks like this. Or we've got it sharpened two ends in the hope that this end didn't break as badly. But the core of the pencil, the actual lead in the pencil, it's not lead, but you know what I mean, the coloured core is not stuck to the wood. The wood is put on. Whereas the Derwent ones, the wood is put on. That's not very explanatory, is it? They put the wood in two pieces and they put the core in the middle as a pre-made thing and they clamp it down and that's it. Whereas these are bonded to the wood. So even if you break your lead, until you get right down to about here with sharpening it, it shouldn't ever break off. And if it breaks off, it should break off above the line. It should never break off like down here. Whereas I've had Prismacolors where I've pulled the end of it and like half of the lead has come out because it's broken down here and none of it's stuck to the wood. These are stuck to the wood, so even if you drop them, you only lose a little bit when you sharpen them as it gets to the end. So as the break gets to about here, you'll start being able to pull it out. There's a fascinating little 20-minute video, something like that, on Derwent's YouTube channel about how Derwent pencils are made, and it talks about all about the bonding process, and it shows you how the cores are made, it shows you how they do the woods, it shows you how they bond this on, all of it. It's fascinating. I found it fascinating anyway, but I'm a giant nerd. If you're interested in how colour pencils are made, go and watch that video because it shows you how bonded pencils are made, and then during the video they tell you, you know, if it's an unbonded pencil, some brands don't bond their pencils. And basically what that means is, you know, that little bit of the process is not done. I think Faber-Castell are bonded. These are very, very high quality pencils. I can't imagine that Faber-Castell don't bond their pencils because they're a European brand, aren't they? So I would think they probably do, but I don't know. I can't swear to that. Derwent do, Prismacolor don't. And this is the result. This happening. I've gone off Prismacolors a lot. I love the colours. I love working with them, but I find them so frustrating. I just want to pick up my pencils and have them work. God damn it. I don't want to be having to sharpen my pencil. I mean, look at all the sharp points I've got on my Derwents. I sat and sharpened all of my Derwent Colorsofts and drawing pencils and Inktense the other day, and I have 72s of each set, of both sets, plus the 24 pack of these, and I had 3 breaks. And one of those was where I went like that afterwards and it snapped because I pressed too hard. It was my fault. Other than that, actually sharpening them, 2 breaks and 1 afterwards. Whereas, you know, pick up any Prismacolor pencil and see how sharp you can get it before it snaps off. Go on, I dare you. Yeah, it's an interesting little video. Go watch it. It's good. It's good. I'm going to put those in over there to go with my Faber-Castells. Those are going back over there. Those are going back over there. You know, I might take that green, you know, if you used pencil over the green, I'm going to do it with a different colour because I don't have a bright green, but if I use pencil over that green, which is what I would normally do with colours, I like watercolour and then pencil over the top. because it fills in the gaps in between the pencil. Does that green still smudge? Yeah. Oh, you can lift out the... Okay, you can lift out the watercolour from underneath the pencil. It acts like a resist for the... Whoa! That can't be right. That can't be right. Hold that thought. Hold that. Hold it. Where's that green gone? That can't be right. I refuse to believe that that's right. Some kind of weird fluke happened there, and that can't be right. It's going against absolutely everything that I know about how stuff works. Yeah? That doesn't go on there, does it? Idiot. Okay, it does work. That's weird. Can you see what's happening? Usually, if you draw with pencil, or white pencil or wax pencil, it reacts as a resist for watercolour. Okay. The water-soluble pen is acting as a resist to the pencil. What the pencil's made of. That's what I'm wondering, because they're just colour pencils. They're not waxy, so they must be oil-based. But then the oil should go over the top of the water. Oil shouldn't lift from water. If you put oil paint over watercolour, you can't lift the watercolour. But if you put these pencils over a water-based pen, you can lift the water-based pen and the pencil. It's not about mixing. It's not about mixing, because you can put, like I say, you can put oil. You can put oil paint over watercolour. You can't then reactivate the watercolour and lift off the oil. It doesn't work. It just dries. Somehow this water pen is creating a barrier to this. That shouldn't happen. I have to look into what these are made of. Maybe they're made of something that, yeah, it's more than likely the paper is just not reacting with the watercolour the way it should do, which is why this happens. Look at this. This is awful now. It's been interesting to play with different mediums on the paper though, because it's so interesting how it reacts versus how this paper reacts, which is proper. This is just low-grade cartridge paper. This is cartridge and ink. It's made for light washes of water. And this one, you can use watercolour in it no problem. Reactivates fine. You don't get patches or anything where you've coloured it in and it's not reactivated or anything. This paper is beautiful. This book is too heavy to be carting around outside with me. I don't mind taking it to a coffee shop, but I'm not... Oh, shut up, child. If you're not being murdered, there's no need to make that noise. Yeah, this is too heavy to cart around. This is much more lightweight. This is about... This is about a third of the weight, or less. but it's double the thickness and it's better paper. So okay, well there you go, that's interesting. This is still a really good sketchbook for doing field work, and I'm glad I've played around with a few different options, because now I know what's going to be best to take with me, which, as I thought, is going to be my colour pencils. But I also know now... Oh, it's not in there. Hi. Having a moment. I also know now that if I want to come home and do something a bit more detailed, or if I want to do, like, do a pencil sketch and then colour it at home, I can do that. And I could probably use fixative for most of this. These would probably be the best ones. I think these would be the best ones for just colouring, I think. These and the mermaid markers. These don't reactivate at all. The mermaid markers reactivate a little bit. But you'd use a lot less of the mermaid markers, because you can put them in the palettes and use them that way. I'm going to go have some tea now, because I'm hungry. I think Miss Maddie's hungry as well, because she's getting up and wandering about. Hi, Miss Maddie. Hi, Boo. Boo had a long chat with his Nana. Nana's come back off holiday. He had a long chat with his Nana on the phone this morning. Gave her a good old what for. Oh, I wanted to try my eraser as well, just while I'm... Again, not sponsored by Derwent. I just happen to have one of these. I got it for Christmas. Santa brought it for me for Christmas, and I just wanted to try it. Can't really get to grips with it. It's good for doing highlights, but it's not really good for erasing stuff. I think it's meant for doing highlights, isn't it? But because you can erase colour softs. I'm just wondering if it will eat into the paper. Oh, it's really hard to do. I really can't get to grips with it at all. Oh, it takes off the texture of the paper. It erases though. Oh, I was erasing it over the colour pen. Over the gouache, sorry. Let's try again over here, where it's not trying to erase through gouache. Ooh. Yeah, for just doing the odd highlight, it'll work. But it does take off the texture of the paper. I just wanted to try it. These aren't bad, but I think if you did a lot of graphite work, where you would do a lot of lifting and highlights and pinpoint highlights, these are fabulous. But I think for me, I can't really see why I would want one. I don't really get it. Maddie! Hey, hey, hey! Okay, it's crazy talk time. I'm going to wrap it up, go and get some food, have a good evening. For those of you in my class or on my Patreon, and I will see you guys tomorrow for class. Shush your face, it's making a noise. Shush your face, it's making a noise. Hi, baby. Hi, Miss Maddie. Hi there, how are you? Shut your face. If you are interested in these sketchbooks, you can get the details. Like I say, it doesn't work if you're in America to actually purchase it, but you can get the details from my Amazon shop. The link is down below. Be quiet. The link is down below. And other stuff that I've suggested for the summer chronicles. And if you want to join our summer class, come on over. Starts in 2 weeks. Super simple. Getting out and about, doing some fun journaling. It's not going to be anything too stressful, just enjoying yourself in your local area and community and exploring your local places. Oh, your mum's trying to kidnap you. Oh, shopping trip. I'm going to pop that in the back of my book so I remember. When I do swatches like this, just as a quick wind up, You just got that book too? Oh, cool, yeah. Well, you've used the travel journals before though, haven't you? You've got the green journal. But have you got this one with the lines on as well? That'd be really good for you because you love to write, don't you? And then do art with it. It'd be a different way of doing stuff for you because you usually integrate it all together. What I normally do with swatches like this is once it's all completely dry, I will go in with a ballpoint pen. Oh, you've got the one with the line. Oh, yours is plain. Oh, right, okay. This has lines on one side and plain on the other. I thought I'd try something different. I do use the plain ones normally. I'll go in with a ballpoint pen, which will write over anything, and just write on what it was I used, what I did to it. So just like watercolour with water, wet in wet, Ecoline brush pens, wet and blended, all that kind of stuff. Just write on what I did, and then I'll tuck this in the back of my book. And this is a pen test page then. And then I don't come to it later and think, oh, what was it I used that blended really nicely? I can just open this and go, what was it that blended? Oh yeah, the mermaid markers blend really nicely. Gouache works really well. Little tip for you there. So I'll pop that in the back of my book. And see you guys later. Have fun. That's it. Have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. That's what I say. Bye, guys.